it my birthday? It was my birthday a few weeks ago.
No,
Whose birthday is it?
It's our birthday, the Gaming Lovers Podcast birthday. We are 1 year old. Woohoo!
Oh, congratulations. We have a cute little 1-year-old.
Yay!
And it doesn't poop everywhere.
The Gaming Lovers Podcast with Brendo and Jem. G'day and welcome to the Gaming Lovers Podcast episode 57, where we are 1 year old. Yay!
That's right, we are expecting presents if you attend our celebration, so do not show up empty-handed or the door will be shut in your face like a good game of Muddle Dash.
We're having a celebration?
Yes? This is it!
Yay! We are still in the States at the moment, currently
USA,
in Florida,
USA.
visiting family and enjoying...
Jet lag.
Yes.
Enjoying jet lag.
Who enjoys jet lag?
The good thing is I work weird hours to begin with, so occasionally jet lag just bumps me into a more normal time zone.
Yeah.
So it does help occasionally.
Occasionally.
Hasn't helped this time.
It doesn't help, though, when you've jumped from time zones to time zones again, because you go from one end of the country to another in America and it shifts quite drastically, so it hurts. It hurts. Anyways, in this episode of the Gaming Lovers Podcast, we have a very special kind of challenge or request. We got this voice message through our website at thegaminglovers.com from The Wolf.
Hi, Brendo and Jem. Love the podcast. Just wondering how many of IGN's top 100 you've played.
Well, first of all, I love the fact that now we have the Wolf to join the Falcon, Mr. Steve, Brendo and Jem. We've got like our own little Metal Gear Solid...
Tactical team.
Perfect. We've all got our code names. Wonderful. And secondly, it does seem less like a challenge and more like an assessment or an exam where we will be scored, we will be graded.
How much do you really love games, Brendo and Jem?
I could be a fraud for all I know.
Well, according to IGN anyway, so we've dug up the list and we're going to go in as blind as possible to just see how many we've played, how many we've beaten, and how many we have not touched ever. So
There'll be probably a few of those, yes. Let's admit it.
I thought we'd open the floor to everybody. Play with us, grab some pen and paper, and do a little checkbox.
This is the 21st century, dear. People can just
use their
notes
phone
on their phone.
Boo.
Or use a slate and a chisel, if you'd prefer.
Use an abacus.
IGN do update their top 100 games of all time every few years. Of course, it is purely opinion-based.
Yeah.
It's a very subjective scale when you're saying the 100 best games of all time.
Yes.
They factor in things like how much it influenced the entire gaming landscape, not only on a personal level, but also industry-based. There'll be some that we've played, some we haven't played. If you have played one of these games, that's a pass mark.
Yep.
If you have beaten one of these games, that's like extra credit. But we're looking for the pass mark. I'm hoping to have at least played 50 out of the top 100 according to IGN.
I'm not so hopeful because games that tend to be on these lists are a lot of like things that are outside my wheelhouse as far as gaming, but you never know. We haven't looked, so I have no clue.
I think part of that is because you yourself are really in the wheelhouse. You enjoy playing strange Japanese visual novels.
I blame you for that.
Yes, to be fair. But that's because I'm rarely in the wheelhouse. People say, oh, what are you playing this week? Oh, Danganronpa 2, Goodbye Despair. What is that?
It's amazing. It's what it is. Anyways, let's give you a moment to go gather what you need, whether it be your phone, whether it be pen and paper, whether it be an abacus, so you can keep score with us and figure out if you've played more games than we have. So this should be fun. We'll be back after this. Share the love. Follow us on Twitter at Brendo Jem. That's BrendoJem. Alrighty, I have my pen and paper.
Oh.
I'm going to do this old school.
Oh, that's fine.
Yeah. So I have 3 categories and columns for each of us. So Brendo, beaten, played, and not played. Very creative names, I must say.
There'll only be a bit. I don't even know why I even bothered making a list of games not played by me. I've played everything. Nope.
Let's find out, shall we? Mine, I've realised the column I gave for not played is probably too small. It needs. It should have. The beaten one should have been like tiny, and it's bigger than the not played. I think that's a little too optimistic.
Well, enough logistics. Hopefully you're ready to go because I am. We've got 100 games to get through.
Let's do this.
Some might take a bit more time than others, but let's see what we got.
Let's get ready to rumble!
So in at 100, Pokemon Go.
Yes, thank goodness for that. That's
We've
definitely a played.
Wouldn't say beaten. Can you really beat a game that constantly has new content added to it?
You can get up to date in it. I've done all of the primary mission-based goals to unlock a few distinct legendaries, but I have not completed a Pokedex. So I want to put a completed on this game.
Beaten.
But definitely,
Beaten is what it says on the columns. Thank you very much. Not completed.
Would you like me to re-say it?
No, I'm just telling you. I'm being sassy.
Okay, so it's good. We're off to a win on number 100, Pokemon Go.
All right, Final Fantasy VII. Oh, this is where I'm going to get my butt kicked. I have not played it.
You have not played it. I have definitely played it because I have beaten it.
Oh, one in the beaten column already.
Took me 3 runs to actually end up beating it, but I have done it. Final Fantasy VII, now available on many consoles.
Mm-hmm.
Give it a spin if you'd like.
Cloud and his giant sword. All right, in at 98, Galaga.
I think everyone's played Galaga, haven't they?
Thank goodness for that.
Galaga, Pac-Man, I think they're the required old school
Now,
entries.
here's a question. Can you beat the game? Because I know some of those arcade games are just kind of designed to get so hard and to the point where you just can't play anymore.
Just like life, failure and death is inevitable. But I have played it, haven't played it enough to consider myself a master, so I'll leave it as a played.
97, Warcraft 2, Tides of Darkness.
Yes, definitely played, definitely beaten, even without cheats. It is a good day to die was the invincibility cheat, and it definitely got some playtime in the 90s by myself. Good game, and Zug Zug Taboo.
And I have not played that. Yeah, this is going great. Look, the 2 you've beaten are the 2 I've not played.
Well, we're about halfway through our lives based off our estimated living expectations, so maybe we can just flip our gaming experiences for the latter half of our lives.
96, Star Wars TIE Fighter.
Oh, an unexpected gem in this list. I have played.
And I have not.
There was a series of flight simulators in space, X-Wing, TIE Fighter, and then the great X-Wing versus TIE Fighter. I enjoyed TIE Fighter because you played as the bad guys for a change, which didn't happen often at that point in the gaming landscape.
Very true. Ooh, 95, The Oregon Trail.
An iconic game released very early 70s, I believe. But no, I have not played the Oregon Trail.
Your first not played.
There will be more. I can almost guarantee
And
it.
my fourth. This is going well. I've already got way more not played than played. I don't have any in beaten yet. This
Well, look,
sucks.
as long as you've played the important games at the top end of the scale.
We will see. Okay, 94, Monkey Island 2, LeChuck's Revenge.
I'm going to be 100% honest in this list. You know, like when you haven't seen a movie, but all your friends have seen the movie, and you say, oh, yeah, I've seen that. I just haven't seen it in so many years that I remember zero details about it.
You've not played it?
I have not played Monkey Island 2. I have played Monkey Island 1. I have played The Curse of Monkey Island. I have not beaten either of them. But Monkey Island 2 I have never touched, and as such will be written down in the list.
Yep.
I'm guessing you're a 0 as well?
I'm 0 too. Hey, something I think I've played. The 93 Burnout 3 Takedown. Yay! I love playing Burnout games.
This was your first Burnout game. You loved the crash mode where you could drive into the busy intersections and cause millions of dollars of insurance damage.
Yes, I had vendettas against buses in those games because they were notoriously like impossible to do any damage on, even going like full speed at them. So like I would spend hours just hunting down buses and trying to do as much damage as possible.
Probably wouldn't state that on a recording.
In the game, not real life. I'm not that stupid. It was cathartic, though. It was one of those games where, like, I would never drive like this in real life, but it's a lot of fun to do in a video game.
Yeah. Now, this mode hasn't even come back in later Burnout games that we loved so much. However, there is a game, and I cannot remember what it's called right now, but there is a game being made that is basically just the crash mode of Burnout 3. So get excited for that.
92, Fallout 2.
They keep hitting me with the sequels that I have not played. Scratch me down. Yes, shameful to admit I have not played Fallout 2. I have played Fallout 1 and everything after that, but not 76. And yourself, you've not played any of the early Fallouts, but you've got plenty of experience with the later ones.
I do, but not Fallout 2. It does look cool. Maybe one day. I'm just thinking what needs to be added to my list for 4 and Feb next year. Oh, this is making me feel really bad. 91, Undertale.
Undertale, the greatest game of all time, according to one of the GameFAQs.com's polls. But sadly, I have not played it.
Me
And
either.
this is the sort of thing. I'm going to be vulnerable. I'm going to be honest. And who knows, maybe on my return flight, I've brought my PS Vita to the States. Maybe I'll play it on the flight home and make up some of these black marks on my list.
All right, so that's been, 10 games so far. You are currently sitting at 2 beaten, 4 played, 4 not played. That's a pretty good ratio.
Yeah, if I can maintain that over the next 90,
You'll
we'll
be
all
fine.
good.
You want to know what mine is? The first 10 games we've done so far, I have done 0 beaten, 3 played, and 7 not played.
There's time. You're a strong finisher. Let's put it that way. You'll charge back from the brink
That's
of
what you
defeat.
think until I start going into all the sporty games, and then I'll be like, nah.
All right, let's keep rolling then.
All right. See, 90, League of Legends, not played.
Another game that's super popular, not my cup of tea, and so I have not played it. It went for years after its release date that I had only heard of League of Legends, couldn't tell you what it even played like or looked like.
And the mob that made it was under fire recently, really, for a lot of
Bad workplace.
Yeah. 89, Mega Man 3.
Mega Man is a series that I had no experience with, sadly. Mega Man 3 is not on my list.
Not played that one?
Not played it.
Making me feel better, hun.
That's the sort of series, though, I missed the first time through my life. And so I'm trying to make up lost time by playing these things 20 years after they were released.
88, Soul Calibur.
Definitely have played. And
This...
I'll leave it as played. Yeah, there were a lot of unlockables in this game. I don't know if I got everything. It's a fighting game. It doesn't really have a beaten state because you can play it forever. So I'll leave it as a played. I had this on my Dreamcast, one of the first games I got on my Dreamcast, and was blown away by the graphics at the time.
I did not have a Dreamcast. I've not played this even in later years. So maybe one... I think I've played later iterations of Soul Calibur.
I think you have too. There was one with Darth Vader in it.
Yes. So there you go. Something to look forward to if it makes the list. Here's one I've played. Yay! 87 is SimCity 2000. Boy, did I love this game.
Well, there you go. See? I told you to be back on track. And I
You've
have
never
also...
beaten it, though.
No.
I don't-
This was a game
Can you
that
beat it?
This was a game that I played with cheats. I'll be honest and vulnerable, like I said, show my weaknesses. SimCity 2000 was on the computers at school, and I played it a lot.
I loved kind of getting to the point where my town was bankrupt, so I would just unleash every single natural disaster as well as like Godzilla out on the town and just watch it burn.
Giant
So
alien UFO things,
Yes, I'll be like,
tornadoes.
Send them in, destroy it all.
That's what you deserve for not paying your taxes.
From my bad infrastructure. Oh man. Okay, 86. Contra.
Contra, another one of those older games. Definitely an older game with the Konami code, I believe. Up, up, down, down, left, right, B, A, start, I think it was. But I have not played it. I know the code to get more lives, but I don't know how I know that. It's just because it was in every Konami game at the time. Have not played Contra. 86 is a fail for me.
In at 85. Inside. Very bleak game.
Fantastic game, though. I have played and I have beaten.
Ooh.
Inside by the makers of Limbo, which I do expect to be showing up later on this list. Inside
Yikes.
is good. Like you said, grim, bleak, well worth playing.
There's so many games I've watched you play, and then I'm realising I've not touched them. I am sitting at 12, not played so far.
Well, that's all right.
That's abysmal. All right, Super Mario Odyssey.
I have beaten.
Yay, I have played. It counts if it's only a short burst, right? Yes, it does. Anything to make me feel better right now. Oh my god.
How did you enjoy Mario Odyssey?
It was very fun. The bit that I ran around in and had a good sense of humour to it too.
I pitched that you should have played this for your 4 in Feb 2019, and you said no. So you could have had a beaten. See, just listen to me in the future.
I've had other things that have been beaten though. Not this one though, at 83, System Shock 2.
Yeah, that's not your cup of tea.
No.
This is a game that I have played, have not beaten, and this is one that I own on multiple things. I think I have multiple copies of it on PC, and I want to beat it one day. But there's always remakes and remasters and things like that that sort of make me go, oh, I'll wait for a future version, but I do want to beat System Shock 2. Sort of like the precursor to Bioshock.
82, Grand Theft Auto Vice City.
I have beaten many times over. Before the days of achievements and trophies, I would sit there with a gigantic checklist of small odd jobs to do in a Grand Theft Auto game and really enjoy getting that 100%. Grand Theft Auto Vice City was one that I multiplied that success many times over and got 100% on many different save files.
I don't think I've played that Grand Theft Auto. I think you've made me play one of the later ones, but not this one. So
Made you play.
when you were like, here, and you like shove the controller at me and be like, drive around or do this, it's funny. So that's my experience with Grand Theft Auto.
Perfect.
Oh, at 81, Persona 5. I've beaten this sucker. Yes, my first beaten. It only took till 81 to get it, and I believe you've beaten it as well.
I have beaten it as well. A great game. And now that Joker has infiltrated the Nintendo Switch as well, who knows how many more people will get to experience Persona as their starting point, maybe in Smash Brothers. Who is this character? I want to play this series, and then it goes on from there.
Absolutely it does. Number 80, Grim Fandango.
Fandango. Have you ever heard of this game?
I have.
Oh, well, I've played it and beaten it on my PS Vita.
Braggy brag.
Braggy brag.
Braggy brag, and I'm up to 15 not played.
One of the great LucasArts point-and-click adventures. I love them. Fantastic stuff.
In at 79, The Legend of Zelda The Wind Waker.
You have not played this.
No, thank you for just pointing that one out.
Oh, and I have beaten it.
Of course you have.
And want to play it again. This is a Zelda game I've only played through start to finish once. And it is constantly on my peripheral vision for a replay at some point in the near future.
78. Oh, one of my childhood classics, GoldenEye 007.
0078. Just what you needed. Is that a played for you?
That's a played. I never beat the campaign.
You just want slappers only, don't you?
I played the multiplayer to death. I never really did the actual campaign. My sisters did.
Well,
what about you?
I've definitely done the campaign because I did it all on 007 difficulty. Or was it 00 Agent difficulty? Whatever the high one was. Yeah, 00 Agent. Agent, Secret Agent, 00 Agent. Yes.
Where one bullet can kill you.
Oh, it's, toughy, but I've done it.
77. Super Smash Bros. Melee.
Now, I did say before fighting games are hard to put a beaten tick next to, but for this, I played it to death on the Nintendo GameCube. It does get a beaten for me because I unlocked everything. I was doing home run contests against my friends. Every week we'd show up with our little scoreboards. So I definitely put in the hours to qualify this as a beaten.
I didn't have a GameCube, but my cousin did, and I played it a lot. This was actually my introduction to Super Smash Bros. We never had it on the 64.
You missed the 64 version.
We did. So that's why now, like, I'm always, when I play Smash Bros., I'm more comfortable with the GameCube controller because that was my first ever experience with it. So
Many people are.
yeah.
Still, I think was the pinnacle of Smash Brothers until Ultimate. I didn't enjoy Brawl or the Wii U version anywhere near as much as Melee. It deserves a good look if you enjoy it. But with Ultimate out, there's really no point because everything that's in that is in this. So
Yes. And Joker. And the Piranha Plant. 76. The Elder Scrolls V Skyrim. I have played it partially.
partially's fine. Now, this is going to be an embarrassing one for me, but I've played this for probably 250 hours.
But you've not beaten it.
I don't think I've ever beaten the main story on it.
That's pretty funny.
I've done like 3 playthroughs exploring the entire world, and yet I'm sure I've never beaten the main story. How embarrassing. That's cost me extra credit right there. There's just too much to enjoy in that game.
75. XCOM UFO Defense.
I think this is the first XCOM game, not the ones that we've played, sadly. Earlier
No.
ones on the PC, I believe. What year did it come out?
94.
Yeah, nowhere. I've definitely not played this XCOM. Have played other XCOMs quite a bit. Sadly, not XCOM UFO Defense. That's a negative for both of us.
74. Suikoden 2.
Oh, a game that has caught my eye with its style on the PS Vita. It is available, I believe, PS1, I think it's out on. But no, I have not played it.
It's an old one. That would have been before those kind of games would be on my radar.
Yeah, probably. But thankfully, due to the PS Vita and its wonderful technology, it's the future of gaming, and you can enjoy it as well.
Oh, I rub salt in the wound. 73. Battlefield 1942. That's definitely not played for me.
That's not played for me either. Which one? Yeah, I played a lot of World War II games on the PC. My dad loved them a lot, especially in that late 90s, early 2000s, but I don't think I played Battlefield 1942.
72 is Dota 2.
Nope.
It was a definitive no.
It's not my cup of tea, sadly. I like single-player games, so sorry.
My not played is up to 20 now. Yeah.
It's okay. We have different tastes in games.
All right, 71. Final Fantasy Tactics.
That's a no for me.
No for
I've got lots of history in the Final Fantasy series, but I didn't really discover tactics-style games probably until XCOM. How are we tracking? We've just done 30 games.
Okay, your stats are 10 in the beaten column. You have played 8 and not played 12.
It's not bad.
In my columns, I have beaten a grand total of 1.
Thank you, Persona 5.
Yes. I have played 8, a bit more respectable. We're
Yep.
equal there. And not played 21.
Well, that's okay. That's okay. There's no shame in this.
Isn't there? I feel like
There's
there
a
is a
moderate
little.
amount of shame in this. But it's okay. So you've still got the top 70 games. Think of how many of the top 70 games you've
Yes,
played.
probably not many. Okay, 70 is Star Wars Jedi Knight 2 Jedi Outcast, released in 2002.
I have played this, and I have played it within the last 12 months, but I have not beaten it.
I have not played it. Let's just leave it at that, shall we? 69 Thief 2 The Metal Age.
Oh my gosh, they've done it to me again. I have played Thief 1. I have played Thief 3. I have not played Thief 2.
It's just trying to help bring some equilibrium to our scores.
They
I
are just
think.
trolling me.
68 Spelunky.
Now, I have definitely played this, and I have beaten it. Yes, I have beaten it. I haven't beaten the secret levels, but I have beaten the main story. I think that counts.
I've not played it.
Sorry, what was that?
I've not played it.
Just clear it into the microphone, please.
I've not played it.
Okay.
67. Donkey Kong, the original 1981, where you have the tiny little thing, like either on an arcade or the handheld Game and Watch, which I had and I've played. What? Yeah.
You've shocked yourself. Now, I've definitely played this, in part because you have to play it to get full completion in Donkey Kong 64. So I have played it there. I have played it since then on other consoles and mini NESs and things like that. So, yeah, Donkey Kong's a tick.
66. Team Fortress 2, that's a no from me.
I have played it.
You have?
I've dabbled. It was included in the orange box, which was the
Oh,
Half-Life
yeah.
compilation on Xbox 360.
Of course you've played it.
Not my cup of tea.
65. The Sims.
The Sims, here to save the day.
Could you-
Definitely have played the original Sims.
Is there a way to beat this game? Because it doesn't feel like it ever really ends.
You can play it's hard to tell if this is memories from the original Sims or if it's from sequels. But you can either just play as people you've made, or you can pick up people's lives that are pre-existing and try to help them through the career path. But I don't think I ever did that. So I'll put it down as a played for The Sims. If this was my younger sister, she's probably racked up more hours in The Sims history than anybody else on Earth.
She still plays it quite faithfully today. But in the original Sims, I know I definitely finished people's career paths. So if that counts as beating it, can I?
I'll allow it, because that's actually quite difficult. And I have, as a contrasting point, have finished people's living existence in The Sims by having them rush around a fiery maze of flaming tables.
Oh, you were so mean to your Sims. 64, Rock Band. Played that one.
Rock Band I have played, definitely have played, have even played it with a person who was an actor on Neighbours. So let me just drop that. I can't even remember his name. It's not important to the story.
Is that the one that Natalie went to school with?
I don't know. I don't even know him that well. But it was impressive.
Oh, man.
Unlike the Guitar Hero games which I owned, I never actually owned Rock Band, so I cannot say that I beat Rock Band.
In at 63, Fallout 3, yay!
I can't even properly see the screen that you're getting this list from, but I can see the glimmer in your eye and the slight smile that appears before you even announce the game.
I'm like, I've beaten a game! Yes! And you've beaten this too.
I have beaten Fallout 3. My true introduction to the Fallout series, so yes. Yes, quite good.
Quite good, good. 62, one of Brendo's all-time faves, Banjo-Kazooie.
What? 62?
I know, right?
What? Banjo-Kazooie deserves to be in the top 20 at least. A game that took the style of Super Mario 64 and perfected it. It's one of my all-time favourites. Definitely have beaten it. I could probably beat it 100% in about 4.5 hours. I've done it before. Probably a little rusty since then, but yeah.
I've played it.
Yes, you have.
I've not beaten it, though.
You have played it because it was one of the games I insisted on you playing.
I'd played it before then, thank you very much.
No, I insisted on you experiencing the entire game. I tried to make you beat it.
It did not work. In at 61, Super Mario World 2, Yoshi's Island, released in 1995.
I think you have played this, but I don't think you liked it. You didn't like the way how the baby started crying when you got hit and floated away into space, and
No.
frantically you're trying to recover the child. It's a game I have played. It's a game I have not beaten, so I'll leave it as played.
All right, 60, Silent Hill 2.
Can you guess which column this goes in for me? And can you guess which column it goes in for Jem? This should be quite obvious. I have definitely beaten it many times.
Definitely never ever played it. Never will.
One of my
Never will.
Never will.
Never will.
Why never will?
Because I don't touch horror games.
It's a psychological scary drama.
Yeah. 59, Grand Theft Auto San Andreas.
Yeah, put me down for beaten, darling. That's another game that I definitely 100%ed a few times over. A much longer game than Vice City was, so it did take a lot longer. So I probably only did that about twice. But, yeah, good game.
Plus a bit of Samuel L. Jackson.
Yes, Officer Tenpenny, one of my most hated video game characters of all time. Thank you, Samuel, you jerk.
It's still not the Grand Theft Auto that you made me try out, but that's all good.
Nope.
58.
Nope.
Mass Effect. Gee, I wonder.
No. Never beaten it. No, I definitely have. On insanity difficulty.
Yay! I'm up to a grand total of 4 beaten games.
That's still not bad. That's still not bad. You include the ones that you have played, and you've played a larger percentage than you'd probably think.
It's still not more than what I haven't.
The first Mass Effect, does it deserve to be the 58th greatest game of all time?
No, it deserves to be much higher. Although people usually put Mass Effect 2, but if you're not including the whole trilogy when you're just saying games that defined things, then
It's
it
definitely
should
the
be
weakest
higher.
of the three.
It is, but it's still better than other stuff on this list. Anyway,
One of the first games that lets you make love with an alien. That's setting trends.
set a lot of trends though. Mass Effect did define a lot of things, like the conversation wheel that you see a lot of other games copy, including Horizon Zero Dawn. So
Credit where credit is due.
things that have changed the game. 57, Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare.
I think this was the last Call of Duty game that I actually played and definitely did beat it because I got every achievement.
Nice work.
Even the, what was it, Mile High Club, which was an incredibly hard level on a plane. Very, very tough.
Well, I've never played any Call of Duty games. Sorry for those who love that series.
Again, World War II shooters is how it started off, so that's where I introduced myself to the series. And by the time it became fully multiplayer focused, I moved on.
56, Batman Arkham City. I've played a bit of this.
I have played a lot of this because I've beaten it
You've beaten it.
twice, and it's a great game. Even if you are not super deep into Batman lore, I knew very little about Batman. I knew the Joker, I knew the Riddler, I knew the Penguin, but I didn't know Deathstroke, for example, or any of the other second level of people. But thanks to the Arkham games, that's where I got a lot of my Batman and DC knowledge.
55, The Witness.
Played, not beaten, and probably never will because that game broke my brain.
A lot of challenging puzzles, which I have not even attempted. Oy vey.
That might be a game you actually, or maybe like is a bit too strong of a word, but it's a game you could play. It's more puzzle-based than anything, but maybe one day.
Maybe. 54, Journey.
Beaten for me. A game that I did show up late to the party. I played it on PS4. I believe it launched on PS3 and got remastered, as everything else has. But, yeah, shortish game. Played it in one sitting. Personally, I don't think it lived up to the hype for me.
All these games that we're like, about are like beating ones that we love so much. 53, Uncharted 2 Among Thieves. Yeah, game I've beaten. Woohoo! I'm up to 5.
I'm so glad that you've beaten it as well. You did watch me play through the entire Uncharted trilogy when that was all the games that were out. But since the remastered collection came out on the PS4, you did beat all of them. I'm so proud of you.
And you've beaten that too.
I have. And my good buddy the Falcon has got the platinum on that, including beating the game on crushing difficulty. Props to you.
52, Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask.
I have beaten it within 6 months of saying these words, so that's a plus. I'd beaten it on the 64, I've beaten it on the 3DS. So whichever version you want to go with, I've beaten it.
I've not played it.
Any interest?
Maybe. Platformers where you can fall to your death, I will fall to my death multiple times over, and that kind of ruins the... Yeah. I know, it sounds super when
Gravity
I
is
say
not your
that.
friend.
No, it really isn't. And the last one before we break it, we'll split it into halves. 51, Overwatch.
I have not played Overwatch. It's a multiplayer shooter, and although I dabble in those occasionally, they are definitely not my focus for video games.
This is definitely a cult classic one, and you see so much like cosplay and fan art with this game. And some of our friends included have done some pretty impressive cosplays, but I have not played it. So maybe one of those things I will try and fail spectacularly, like Apex Legends.
19th out of 20 ain't bad.
So let's do a quick review of where we're at before we take a break. So the first kind of 50, we've got in your beaten column, Brendo, 21.
I'm happy with that.
You have played 15 and not played 14.
So it's 36 played in grand total out of 50. Yeah.
That's a good ratio.
I'm tracking quite nicely, and I'm sure you're right behind me.
Let's look at that from the flip side.
Mm-hmm.
In beaten, I have 5. I have played 13 and not played 32.
That's all right. 18 to 32 isn't that large an imbalance.
Just wait. Let's see how well we're doing, and hopefully you're doing much better than I am as you play along after this break.
You're listening to the Gaming Lovers Podcast. Want to join the conversation? Visit thegaminglovers.com. Record your comment or question by clicking on the button on the right-hand side, and you could be featured in the next podcast.
Well, it doesn't matter how quickly you're off the blocks. If you go slow and steady, you win the race, darling. So we'll just see. We'll just keep the pace, and maybe, I don't know, I'm trying to help you feel better.
If anything, it's doing the opposite. So let's look at the top 50 video games on IGN's Top 100 and see how we're going. Yeah. All right. Let's just rip this Band-Aid off and start number 50, Deus Ex.
Deus Ex, definitely have played, definitely have beaten. Another game I have beaten multiple times over multiple decades because I do like it that much.
And I have not played it. Let's keep going. 49, Baldur's Gate 2.
Baldur's Gate 2, I have played, I have not beaten. I'll be completely honest. I've started this many times, never beaten it. I did beat the first Baldur's Gate remastered just last year or so maybe it's due for Baldur's Gate 2 to get its time.
Might be one of those things I should add to my list, but I've never played it.
It's a BioWare game with
that I
good
have not
party
played.
banter
Ooh, then
and Dungeons and Dragons.
I should definitely add it to my list. 48, Ms. Pac-Man. I've played that.
What on earth is that picture?
It's a bit creepy.
Why? That's a very weird picture. I don't like that picture at all.
Hey, I've played this one. Woohoo.
Ms. Pac-Man.
Yep.
Yes, we have that little portable gift that's in the shape of a Pac-Man with a control stick on it. And that has Ms. Pac-Man on it. I was a little worried then. I was going to say, I've played Pac-Man, but not Ms. Pac-Man.
47, Counter-Strike 1.6. I love the era when everything had to have those something point something names.
It's very precise. I
Yes.
played a lot of Counter-Strike in late high school and primarily also co-op Counter-Strike on the original Xbox with my good buddy the Falcon.
Mm-hmm.
I won't place it as a beaten, but I'll give it a played. There's nothing like the pressure of the entire team watching your every action when they're all dead and you're the last one standing.
In at number 46, Persona 4 Golden. Woohoo! And
Persona 4 Golden.
If they hadn't specified Golden, I'd be worried because that's the version we've played because it's the extended version on the Vita.
That's right.
We never played the original. So, yay! I can say I've beaten that.
That was your first Persona game? Did you play 4 or 3
No, I
portable
played
first?
3 first.
Okay.
Yep.
Now, Persona 4 Golden, I'm shocked isn't higher up because it is, out of all the 3DS and PS Vita games, it is the single most highest average review score out of any of those handheld games.
Well, you got to remember this is one person on IGN that's ranking all of these, so they might have very different tastes to us. So I have a feeling that we're going to butt heads a little later on in this list.
Buttheads.
45, Earthbound.
I have not even played it.
Ooh.
It's where NES came from. who I'd found in Smash Brothers and said, "Who's this kid with a baseball bat?" I don't know who he is.
I've never played Earthbound either.
Do you know who the 4 main characters are? Can you please just read this line?
Ness, Paula, Jeff, and Pooh. Oh, it's an unfortunate name, isn't it?
Pooh.
And literally spelt like poo, not like a P-U, P-double-O.
His name is literally Pooh.
Oh, what a crappy name. Number 44, Resident Evil.
Now, the screenshot featured here and the release date reflect this to be the remake available on the GameCube first and then later on the PS4. And I believe it's coming to the Switch as well. Or maybe even beyond it. I don't even know the release date on that. I just remember it's showing me a pre-order when I was playing Smash Brothers a few weeks ago. So, Resident Evil remake, what do you think?
I think you've beaten it.
Yeah, I've definitely beaten it. I platinumed that on the PS4 as well. So.
I think I've not touched these games.
It's
Gee, I wonder
phenomenal.
why.
I'm going to have to talk some Resident Evil soon because it keeps crossing my mind.
I think you should do that with Steve.
The good brother.
Yeah,
Okie dokie, let's move on.
I'm volunteering him for that. 43, Diablo 2. Not played.
Now, here's where I'm going to lose some respect from my fellow gaming community. I've never played Diablo 2.
Oh, well, neither have I. So I think I've lost a lot of credit, to be honest, this episode. It was like, how could she call herself a gaming lover? Look how many she's not played. We
Love
haven't even
comes in
got through.
all shapes and sizes. I've dabbled with Diablo 1. It came out at the same time as Baldur's Gate, and I much preferred Baldur's Gate's characters and story and combat and spells, and thus I was drawn to that series and not Diablo.
42, StarCraft.
Beaten it!
Show off.
I even made my own levels for this game. I made my own campaign and I beat that as well. Because it was imbalanced and far too easy. StarCraft. Any interest in strategy games? You've played a
Depends.
little bit of Warcraft 3, I believe.
Work.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, we had that on the
Yeah.
Mac when we first got married.
I remember. Speaking of Warcraft, World of Warcraft at number 41.
Not played it.
No, me either.
It required a subscription and a reliable internet connection when it launched. I had no money and no good internet, so I was disqualified from trying it for many years and have not tried it, no.
Had a lot of NPCs in the game. There's a fun fact. Over 40,000 NPCs.
Just a couple.
Just a few.
And how many does Fallout 76 have?
Oh, that's funny because it's true. Number 40, Star Wars, Knights of the Old Republic. Why is this so low?
One of our all-time great games. One of the games that forged our gaming lovers' friendship, I guess you'd call it, which then blossomed.
Yes.
And Jem's first BioWare game, I believe, too,
Yeah.
which also started a trend of many games that she loved from that developer.
Because before Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, I was very much a casual party kind of gamer. I would play local multiplayer games like Mario Kart or Rock Band and things like that. Anything that we could play with a group of friends. That was how I gamed predominantly. So having a game that was so story heavy, and I already loved Star Wars. It was a really good organic way to be introduced to a new type of game.
Yep, you didn't have to worry about twitchy combat because you just program in what you want them to do. Very similar to Baldur's Gate, by the way, in that it's not real-time combat. It's all orders. And yeah, you loved Star Wars. I thought it would be a perfect fit, and little did I know how much gaming I would miss out on because you were playing these games forever.
Because I didn't have the console. It was always at your house and on your profile, so you had to sit and watch me play for hours. And especially in those early days, because I was so nervous, I would be constantly pausing and slowing everything down. You're like, oh my goodness.
Not that I mind, it paid off in the long run.
It did. 39, Metal Gear Solid 2, Sons of Liberty.
A game I've definitely beaten multiple times. Again, got a platinum on this one. Never thought I would. Yeah, I love it.
Sometimes I feel like when I've watched you play something from start to finish, I deserve to put it in the played. But I have not played this. I've definitely watched you play all the Metal Gear games. 38, Final Fantasy VI.
I think this has to be a played on a technicality. I got to the final dungeon and got stuck in combat against mobs and didn't beat it. Did 98% of the game.
I'm a little sad at just how few Final Fantasy games I've even played.
When did you join in on the Final Fantasy bandwagon? 13?
13.
But
Oh,
you've
my
played
word.
13. You've played 15.
I've played 12.
You've played 12. So you've got some experience. You need to
Yes.
play 10 and 10 too. Two of my favourites.
In at 37, one of my favourite games of all time, Mass Effect 2.
And I'm kind of shocked that it's not in the top 10, to be honest.
37. Who is writing this list? Seriously, they're going to get some grumpy comments from us.
Well, clearly not you, because I don't think you could even put together 100 games you've played.
I could, thank you very much. There would just be lots of visual novels.
Okay, I was testing the boundaries on that one. I've definitely beaten Mass Effect 2, again, on Insanity difficulty. Not to brag or anything,
You were
but
totally breaking.
I'm doing pretty well on this list.
All right, another one I've played. My very first Pokemon game, Pokemon Yellow at 36. Yeah. I never got to beat it though because I lent it to a friend and never got it back.
Well, I've beaten it. It may not have been a completely legal copy, but we're not
emulated
talking
that
about
one.
we're not talking about legalities here. We're talking about skill. So yes, put me down for that.
35, The Legend of Zelda original 1987 version.
I've played,
Yeah,
thanks to the wonders of the mini NES, but I have not beaten it.
I've not played. Oy. 34, Bloodborne.
Yes, another platinum of mine. It's good to
Yes.
know that I've put in the effort, put in the hours on games that are actually worth the time.
Good to know how many games that I have not touched. Metroid Prime at number 33. Nope.
Now, here's another black mark on my list. Do you know I've never actually played any Metroid game?
Oh, wow.
I didn't
No
have
Samus for you?
I didn't have any Nintendo consoles prior to the Nintendo 64, and as such, had never experienced Metroid games. Now, if I had have known they existed at the time, I would have clamoured and tried whatever I could to play them. The style is exactly what I loved in gaming at that era. And then since then, my introduction to Samus was Smash Brothers, but then Metroid Prime I never had either because I didn't like the GameCube controller for first-person games, and I've just never tried it since.
There you go. Maybe something you should try.
I should.
32, Resident Evil 4.
Well, Jem's obviously beaten this one. Maybe not.
Nope.
I have beaten, definitely have beaten on the GameCube. What's next?
31, The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. This is on my backlog.
Where's the list for games we own but haven't played yet? Because that's on there.
Definitely.
It will get its time to shine.
You've played the other Witcher games.
I have played 1 and 2,
Yeah.
but I have not played 3 because there's too many games to play.
In at number 30, Metal Gear Solid. Gee, I wonder.
Beaten,
Yep.
beaten, definitely beaten. It deserves to be that high because I really enjoy it, and my opinion's important apparently.
29, Super Mario Galaxy.
Galaxy, a game I've beaten. See, this is the thing. You asked who put this list together. It was me.
No, because other things would be higher, like Banjo-Kazooie. 28, Shadow of the Colossus.
I beat it, another game that I do find to not live up to the amount of hype that it garnered.
Can't believe this is higher than Mass Effect 2.
Whether that's just me, I don't know. It's a strange game. You need to... I don't even know how you enjoy a game like that to the best possible degree. But I have beaten Shadow of the Colossus, so you can mark me down for that.
27, Bioshock. Aussie-made game that I have not played.
Any interest in a first-person horror-ish game? I have beaten it. Thank you. Bioshock. Did love that series.
26. The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild.
I have beaten it
I have
by
not
accident
played it.
because I didn't mean to. but I triggered the final boss and then beat him and then go, oh, well, that's that. Okay. I guess I beat it. I wasn't ready to do it, but I did it. There's so much in that game, though. If you're trying to go off percentage-wise, I'd be probably less than 50% done with that game.
25. Sid Meier's Civilization 4.
I've never touched a Civilization game before. They are more turn-based strategy, I believe. And to be honest, I didn't like turn-based games back in the day. If you had my preference of a Civilization or a Heroes of Might and Magic versus something like a Warcraft 2, I would take Warcraft 2 every day of the week and twice on Sunday. But as a result, I've never played it.
They do look interesting. They've just we've never played them, so maybe worth putting on our backlog as something to try.
Yep.
Something a bit different. 24. Minecraft. Who hasn't played Minecraft at least for like 5 seconds?
Well, I have tried it. Certainly have not put in the hours.
I don't think that you can beat Minecraft.
Well, I would, yeah.
I think it's impossible because it's always generating new stuff.
I've probably played it for less than an hour, so you can mark me as a played, but
Hey, a played is a played.
a played is a played. And
I will take that kind of credit. I don't want to look at my not played.
it's yeah, I was hoping that your top 50 might help. It seems to have hindered your list.
No.
We'll do the assessment in a few more when we have passed the 80 mark.
Yeah. In at 23, Halo 2.
Definitely beaten. I loved the Halo games early on, so that was definitely always going to be a beaten.
This is one of the few Halo games I think I've played, not the campaign, but multiplayer with you.
Well,
So,
if you've played it, you've played it.
Yeah. 22, Half-Life.
Well, that's a beaten again.
That's it. I've not touched that one.
Another goodie, another game that does deserve to be high on the list because of how it defined the first-person narrative. Good work to Half-Life.
21, Metal Gear Solid 3, Snake Eater. This is another game I feel like I should have in my played, even though I just watched you play.
You feel ripped off. You've experienced the whole game just without a controller in your hand.
Pretty much.
And that's it. This day and age, you can watch an entire game on YouTube.
Or someone's streaming, yeah.
But I don't consider that to be getting the real experience of you doing the reactions, you doing the choices.
Yeah.
So that's definitely a beat for me. I love Metal Gear Solid 3. Probably my favourite Metal Gear Solid game.
In at 20, The Last of Us. Played it.
You have played the intro and it made you cry.
Yes, it did.
I have beaten it on grounded difficulty. Myself and my good buddy the Falcon. It was a cooperative effort, but we struggled through.
Number 19, Doom. That was in 1993. I've played that one.
Classic Doom.
Classic Doom.
Well, I've beaten Classic Doom. And Doom 2, I was playing frequently in the year 2003 because I was joining a map modding community when I was supposed to be studying my information technology course at TAFE. So, what was I doing instead? Doom.
At 18, Chrono Trigger.
Oh, one of Brendo's great white whales. A game that I have wanted to play for like 15 years. And I've never gotten around to it.
Don't we own it?
I do not think we own it.
What? I thought we did.
It's available on DS and PS1, I think.
Yeah.
Chrono Trigger is a classic Final Fantasy style game with a bit of time travel thrown in the mix. Yeah, I really do want to play that. And if I ever made a list, like a gaming bucket list, Chrono Trigger would have to be on it. I have not played it.
I'm positive we own that on DS. I feel like I've seen that in the mountain stack somewhere.
If we owned it, I would have played it.
Oh, you could have just misplaced it.
No, I've never owned this game.
Are you sure about that?
I'm 100% sure about this.
I'm going to go check later.
If you find a Chrono Trigger in there, I will be bamboozled as to how it got there. But maybe it's time travelling. Maybe future Brendo put it there. Yeah?
Number 17, Grand Theft Auto 5.
Here's the one you have dabbled with.
Dabbled.
Yes. still. I'm trying to help you out here. This was the one that I did let you sample, based off the absurdity of a yoga mini game and other weird activities. But yes, I have played it. I have beaten it, and over 90 million copies worldwide. I figured we'd be in that somewhere.
16, Dark Souls.
Dark Souls? I have beaten it. Thanks in no part to my good buddy the Falcon, who basically held my hand through it.
I have not even got 10 beaten games yet. This is really sad.
We've done 85 games so far.
Okay, 15, Street Fighter 2.
There's a game you've played.
Yay.
I know you have. Chun-Li and her spinning bird kick. Definitely played Street Fighter 2 and Street Fighter 2 Turbo and Super Street Fighter 2 and Street Fighter 2 EX Plus Alpha. And there's about 60 billion Street Fighter games, but only a few numbered ones. But we've definitely played Street Fighter 2.
That we have. Here's one I've played. At number 14, Super Mario Bros. Released the same year you were.
Released from the womb. I've played Super Mario Brothers 1. I can't claim to have beaten it. I did a lot of my early Mario Brothers 1, 2, and 3 playing on the Super Mario All-Stars at a friend's house in the 90s, but I don't believe I've ever beaten it, so sadly not.
13, Halo Combat Evolved. Nope.
Certainly have beaten this game multiple times. I fell in love with this game when it launched on the original Xbox. Certainly was a good selling point for that console, and its legacy as a shooter's style, more mature gaming console continues to live on in the brand ever since.
12, Castlevania Symphony of the Night.
Symphony of the Night. I've never played a Castlevania game either.
Me
Metroid,
either.
Castlevania. They claim that style of game to be Metroidvania these days, and I haven't played either of those patriarchs of the genre. How shameful of me.
It's not as shameful as my list. Number 11, yay, I can mark one off. Portal 2.
A game I have played through once in its entirety, and I really would like to give this another spin one day.
So clever, so funny.
There is also a co-op campaign, which is where you have played a little bit with me as well.
Yes.
Good stuff.
I've done both a bit of the campaign and the multiplayer, so not just playing with ya. At number 10, Super Mario 64. Heck, I've played that one.
Super Mario 64, you can put me down as a beaten. This is a game that when I return from the States and have some time without you, I was thinking of games that I might boot up for the first time in a while, and Super Mario 64 may be getting the nod. So look forward to that.
In at number 9, Red Dead Redemption.
Beaten it. I am doing quite well.
Yes, you're doing better than me. This is another one I watched you play.
That's
feel like I
right.
know so well.
An open world game, and you watched me play almost in its entirety.
And even the extended stuff with like the zombie stuff. That was pretty funny.
I do feel like you deserve a few pity points.
At number 8, Half-Life 2.
Half-Life 2, I have played and beaten. I did have it on PC when it launched with the arrival of Steam. You did require an online connection at all times. That was dicey on my 56k modem, and my computer was not up to the task of running it either. But thankfully, since then, I did get to play it on the Xbox 360 when it launched on consoles, and I loved every second of it. Thank you very much, Valve, for Half-Life 2.
Now, here's a game I don't think you can technically ever really beat. That's not how it's structured. At number 7, Tetris.
Well, no extra credit for either of us, but I know we've definitely both played this because I've played against you in Tetris.
And usually you lose.
And quite often I do. Because she cheats.
I'm surprised. I do not cheat. I'm surprised that that's sitting so low. It is arguably one of the best, especially classics.
I don't think it's possible to cheat in Tetris. I was being silly, and you took so offence to my statement.
Number 6, Super Mario Bros. 3.
Super Mario Brothers 3, I have played it. I'm not going to commit and say that I've beaten it, because that would be probably a fabrication. I can't remember. I did a lot of my Mario Brothers playing in the 90s, and that was a long time ago. It's all a blur of Technicolor t-shirts and hammer pants.
I'm going to put it down as a no.
Well, we'll remedy that. The top 10 games Jem will play by the end of the year. We're gonna fix this.
I don't know about that, because at number 5, The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past.
Oh no. I forgot I was playing this in 4 in Feb and was supposed to beat it by now. I abandoned it. I have played.
But you've not
And
beaten
I
it.
was supposed to have beaten it a couple months ago and didn't.
Oh my goodness. Okay. We're in the home stretch now. Number 4, Super Metroid.
Yeah, well, I
Nope.
explained earlier. That's a no for me.
No for me too. Oh, the shame.
That is a game that I do intend on playing, though. Now that I have a mini SNES and have the capabilities to play it, it will be played. And unlike A Link to the Past, I will beat it.
Number 3, Portal.
Portal.
Yep. I've played that. Did not finish it because it made me feel nauseous. But
Well, that's fair. It's a limitation on some people. They don't click well with it.
a
I've
lot
beaten
of
it.
bounciness.
I've
Yes.
beaten it and didn't even know what it was when I started it. Like I said earlier with Half-Life 2 and Team Fortress, the orange box did feature a game called Portal. Myself and my good buddy the Falcon had just wrapped up a fun playthrough of Half-Life 2 and decided to see what this Portal thing was. And we played it start to finish and loved every second of it. I think it does deserve to be high based off its innovative technology, its humour, its lasting impact. Everybody knows that the cake is a lie. And Portal put us onto that. So thank you.
Did you know that GLaDOS stands for Genetic Life Form and Disk Operating System?
Did not know that.
There you go. Number 2. This is not all that surprising. The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time.
The only reason this is surprising is because I thought it would be number 1. The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, definitely have beaten it. Again, just like Majora's Mask, on the Nintendo 64, on the 3DS. Love it. Everyone should give that a spin.
And that's definitely one of my dark shames. I've not played it. So I'm like, I know lots about it. So when people bring it up, I'm like, yeah,
You have
great
enough
game.
knowledge to...
I can bluff my way through conversations.
Oh, that
so-
water temple?
And I like I'll see the things with like the tune to play the ocarina and things like that. So I'm like, I recognize all these things, but I've not ever played it. Didn't have it on the 64 when it came out, and I've not played it since it's been relaunched many times. So yeah,
Any interest?
maybe. I feel like, is there an order I should play some of these Link games? There's so many.
The beautiful thing about the Zelda games is that although they are at varying points in the generations and timelines, and there is an actual timeline you can follow, they are all basically the same game, just told in a different way.
Number 1, Super Mario World from 1990.
All right, respect to Nintendo. I do think that does hold a place. It has charm. It has excellent controls. It has great level design. I have beaten it with a good friend many years ago. This is a Mario game I actually do know I've beaten, unlike 3 and 1. But Super Mario World, I have beaten.
I believe I've played this.
Yes, you have.
I've not beaten it. Man, I don't want to do my tallying.
Final scores. Final scores for the top 100. The top 100 games of all time, according to IGN. How did we fare?
I'm sorry. Whoever wrote this list. Okay. Let's start off with our beaten. You are sitting at 51 total beaten out of 100. That's a good pass mark, I think.
Higher than I thought.
Yeah, you wanted to just have played 50.
Yeah,
so
in total.
You've beaten 51 of these games. I have beaten 8.
Okay. Okay.
Played 26.
For myself.
I have played 27.
Well, there you go. So if we combine those, in total,
Yes.
I have played out of the top 100
77.
It's more than I expected, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
I'm happy with that. And that leaves 23 that I've never touched.
And I have played 35 of the one.
Now, that's better than it sounds, because that's still a third of the greatest 100 games of all time you have played.
Well, the greatest according to one person who, frankly, I disagree with some of these things on the list and where they sit. But anyway.
It's all subjective.
It so is.
This was the challenge.
Not played, you sat at 23.
Mm-hmm.
And mine, 65. Mm-hmm.
It's okay. You've done a third of them. You've tried a third of the best games, which means in the next half of your life, you know what you're missing out on. Are there any games on this list that you had never played that you have an interest in giving a spin? Whether in the immediate future or maybe a year or two down the road?
Well, there's things that we've mentioned like The Witcher 3 that's already on my backlog. Baldur's Gate, a lot of those classics would definitely be on my radar as well. But there's a few that are certainly outside my wheelhouse that I would be willing to try. I'm just relieved that Fortnite wasn't included on that list.
It may have been before Fortnite was released.
That's possibly true.
Probably why.
But yeah, I think you did very well. Congratulations, Brendo.
Well, it wasn't a contest between ourselves. It was simply an interesting experiment to see how we stacked up. And I don't mean to sound bragful, but I'm quite happy with how I stacked up. I try to play a lot of varied styles of games.
Yes.
I like to play a lot of things. It costs me a lot of money and a lot of time compared to other people who play just one or two genres.
But you will notice that the guy that put this list together put a lot of the same games and series in, but didn't touch game series like Danganronpa, which are great games, but probably outside their wheelhouse. It's just pointing that out there. It's just, that they haven't looked at, things that are in the visual novel, things like games like 999. Where's that?
I agree.
So
Don't worry, I agree on that. Hey, look, this was hard enough. This took long enough for us to piece together what we've done on their top 100.
Yeah.
I'm not spending the time or the energy to put together my 100.
I don't know if we would be able to put together 100. It would be very hard even just to say our top 10.
Share the love. Like us on Facebook at facebook.com/The Gaming Lovers.
So I want to know how you did if you were playing along with us, what your scores were. Whether that's going to make me feel better or worse, I don't know. But let us know either at thegaminglovers.com or you can send us a message via our social media pages on Facebook or Twitter. We'd love to know how you did in the IGN Top 100 as it stands as we have recorded this.
I need to go play some Metroid, I think. I have
Castlevania.
There's some embarrassing things on that list that I've not touched.
And none of the Final Fantasy games that I've played were on that list. I have played Final Fantasy games, just none of the ones that were on that.
You showed up at the wrong end of the generation, unfortunately.
I did. Oh, well. Until next time, thanks so much for joining us on the Gaming Lovers podcast.
What should I say?
Sayonara.
I'll just say Chowski and then I'll do Chowski.
Thanks for listening to the Gaming Lovers podcast. For more episodes or to watch some live stream gaming, visit thegaminglovers.com.
Chowski. I'll say it twice.